Performance, Turbo Tim here.
And Tyler V.
We're here about Project Base Model.
Spec base model,
Spec
baby.
Base Model. Yeah, it was kind of, the idea was brought up with, we were just joking around about taking a whole bunch of base models and doing like bare bones budget mods to them and taking them to the road course and just beating the heck out of them and like learning how to drive.
If you guys have watched the podcast, you've heard us rambling about this, but the idea stems from Grid Life has what they now call Sunday Cup and started it as Spec Fit. So it's a bunch of dudes in Honda Fits. If anyone has driven a Honda Fit, they know that they make 90 horsepower?
Yeah, like 90 horsepower.
Like nothing. And these dudes go out and they have probably some of the best times in terms of fun on a road course.
You know, I first started racing with my S2000, like it was just like a daily driver at the time, and I had a lot of fun, and I did like 1 or 2 races for my first with an instructor, and then I immediately jumped into my ATS-V that was making like 600 wheel horsepower, and it was fun, but it was like scary and
terrifying.
I wasn't really able to learn how to race the car because it was so fast. It's a lot more fun to drive a slow car fast
than a fast car slow.
Exactly.
Yeah, it sounds so dumb when you're like, oh, well, you can either go on the road course in a 120 horsepower Chevy Cobalt, naturally aspirated, or you could take an ATS-V. And 100% of people who haven't been out there will say ATS-V. That's what I want to drive.
For sure. With the slow cars, you have to learn, it's called momentum racing. Mm-hmm. You have to carry speed around a corner, and carrying speed around a corner is what wins most races.
Yeah, you're not gonna be screaming down the back straight in this, but if you can learn and take those fundamentals that you might have missed with a higher power car, and I'm not saying you, but anyone in general, when you can make up speed on the back straight or whatever, then it's a lot easier to seem like you're going fast, but you need to work on yourself first. So, Tim, show us the car. What do we got here?
This is Spec Base Model, I guess, 001.
Yep.
It's a 2008 Cobalt. I got a really good deal on it. Somebody posted on the Cobalt groups, non-running car. So I got an engine, threw it in it, and I did all the basic mods. I did trying to keep this budget as much as I could.
Yep.
In trying to make it like, I could replace the struts with fancy stuff. I could put Powell springs on it. I could put all that stuff on there. But why not just replace it with our coilovers? Mm-hmm. Our coilovers replace like all that stuff in one. And you could take all your other stuff and just chuck it, because you probably bought a 185,000 mile car to start with.
Yep.
And you know the struts are not going to be good. So it's got ZZP coilovers. It's got our rear sway bar, because that's an absolute must.
Absolute.
It has our solid rubber front control arm bushings, and then the Powell, the other Powell,
the leading bushing,
that we don't sell ourselves. And it just has some fun mods like a short shifter, the tranny mounts, engine mounts. It doesn't even have a cold air intake on it. You know, the factory manifold is cast iron, so I put our shorty header on it with a 2.5-inch catted downpipe.
Yep.
But it still has a stock exhaust on it.
Yeah. So really, you've set it up for feel first.
Yep.
You know, obviously, base model suspension, any of you Cobalt guys know, is really wobbly and wallowy, and it is soft. So slap a pair of our coilovers on, or set, and you know, you can adjust the damping all around. Cobalts make about, with a manual trans, this is a 2.2 L61, we'll make somewhere around 140 to 150 after modding and a little bit of tuning. So it's not a screamer, but it'll be a lot of fun. Now, with this, what we've envisioned is opening this up to everyone at ZZP. I have my base model. It's an auto, but it'll do. It has our coilovers already. It has our sway bar. It's pretty much the same setup other than auto trans. With this though, you've started to notice a couple shortcomings of the base model? Yeah,
so far I was hoping that wheels and tires were going to be an advantage with it being the 4on100, but it's kind of becoming not. Hondas love 4on100. The problem is all Hondas are like 15 and 16-inch wheels, which
it's really hard.
Might be enough, but like I kind of have a problem. Like I can't do a 15 or 16-inch wheel, so I'm trying to find a 17 by 8.5, 17 by 9.
Yep. It is tough because those cars are so small that 17s look silly on them. And this was, I think, other than maybe the Chevy Spark, probably GM's last 4-lug car. So we're not gonna have a ton of big wheel options. I have a set of 17s on my Cobalt that are 17 by 9, but I mean, they're a very odd offset that Rota doesn't even make anymore. So obviously the SS's and even some of the higher trim base models came with 5 lugs. 5x110 is an unfortunate bolt pattern, but you can at least start with the Cobalt 17s or 18s. And then from there, you can do the 5x4.5 swap.
Yep, so I'm still looking for wheels. I may end up doing the 5-lug swap. It'll be a little unfortunate because I did just put fancy,
new brakes.
Not fancy, but like ZZP cross-drilled slotted rotors and, new pads. And then I did put .4 fluid in it.
Yep.
But if I do the 5-lug conversion, I can put the LSJ or LNF brakes on the front. I can convert the rears to rotor like the SS's have.
And that's a thing
we'll
that
see.
We don't even know yet. How would drums do on a road course? I mean, no road course car that any of us has ever driven has had drums, and they don't make a high-performance drum pad.
No.
So...
A shoe.
Yeah, a shoe. So it might be a must. I mean, we might need to get the car out there, shake it down, see how it feels. It might not be a problem. It might.
I don't think it'll be too expensive, though, because people crash Cobalts all the time. So the rear axle beam assembly is pretty easy to come by. And then the front is just a wheel bearing swap.
Yep.
So
it's easy.
Yeah, it should be pretty easy. But, that's it so far. I mean, feel free to chime in, you guys, if you know something I don't.
If anyone wants to do this and get in on Spec base model, we are here for it. We'll be at Gingerman and Grattan. Who knows where this goes? I mean, we might actually get some dudes who do it. It might just be a couple of us, but I think it's exciting. I think it's a low-cost, easy entry into road course.
It's a super light car. I mean, we made the top 5 mods for the 2.2 base model guys, and the video is actually very popular. So it's we figured let's just do this, and maybe it'll be a thing, maybe not. But if we get 3, 4, 5 of us ZZP guys into this, and then we get some customers into it, it could be a thing.
Yeah, being a base model guy from the beginning, ZZP has always had parts, but they don't have quite the extensive catalog like they do for the SS, just because it's the lesser model. So if we get a lot of interest, and there are a lot of you guys who want more mods, engine mounts, shifters, there are some things that are different between the two chassis. So if you guys want it, let us know. The more people who comment, the more people who are talking about this, the more stuff we'll make.
Yeah, this chassis is quite a bit lighter than the SS models as well. So when it comes to expendables on the road course, this is going to be a fairly cheap car to modify and race. Like my ATS-V, I would go, one grid life event would take out a whole set of tires. It's like $1,200 or something.
Yeah, and those are
in one event.
Big wide wheels. I mean, say we find a solid 17 by 8 or whatever. So you're talking 215s, 225s.
Yep.
$150 a tire.
Yes.
And they'll last all season.
Yeah, they will last all season.
Same with brake pads, So it's a great idea. We're finally seeing it come to fruition.
Yep.
And I mean, just look at it.
I mean, she's a beast.
She is.
I would recommend a 2007 and up, though, because when I scanned this car initially, the tune was pretty terrible.
Really?
Yeah, like low teens for timing. I don't remember what the air fuel was, but like when I touched the tune, like with 5 minutes of tweaks, it did wake it up quite a bit.
Cool.
So I would recommend an 07 and newer because you can at least tune it then. But it's not required. You know, if run what you got.
Yeah.
I mean, a tune is not going to win or lose a race when there's a bunch of us doing it. And anyway, like, we're trying to make it fun. So if somebody has more mods than somebody else, we can add a weight to it or, some kind of disadvantage or give somebody an advantage. But yeah, for next, I want to add some aero. So I'll probably do the typical SS bumper, the typical SS running boards. And
Yep.
maybe rear bumper, maybe not, because the rear bumper kind of is a parachute.
Kind of.
So I don't know if I want to do that.
You're probably going to end up cutting it up anyway. So
You know, I bought an SS rear bumper, and the SS rear bumper was like way heavier than I thought. Heavy enough to where I'm like, I don't know if I want to put this on.
ounces make pounds.
So, but this car was, when I started, it was like 2,900 pounds with me in it.
Okay.
And there's a ton of weight stuff to pull out. And it's a base model, so I mean, you don't need all the extra stuff.
No.
So, you know, it'll be nice and light. So I'd say my next step will be lightening, and then obviously wheels when I figure out what I'm going to do with that. Maybe some hood venting. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we don't know if it's going to get hot. I can't assume it's going to need a lot of venting because you're not dealing with a turbo or a supercharger or any complex cooling system. So
and stay tuned, because this car, once I get it dialed in, it might end up with ITBs and a 13-to-1 compression engine. So I know
we're here for it. We're here for it.
So we're already discussing it. We already figured out the throttle bodies we're going to use, but that'll probably be at the end of the year, I would say.
I'm excited.
I'm excited.
Let's get to it. Let's get driving.
Sounds good. See you guys later.